banister that looked over the living room before I got dressed. What I didn't expect was for her to be looking at me, too. My mama and Scarlett were talking a mile a minute and helping Hazel put her things away, but her eyes were firmly on mine. Feeling awkward all of a sudden, I did what any 5-year-old boy in their underwear would do. I did a little jig and finished it off with a waggle of my eyebrows. And that's when it happened. Her sad eyes lit up, and her serious pink mouth tipped up at the ends in a barely there smile. My little heart soared. So naturally, I did my jig again, followed by a bigger and better wag of my eyebrows before ending it with a slow twirl for effect. A small giggle I knew belonged to Hazel made me smile, before I heard the thunderous voices of my red-headed sister and mother yell, "Oliver!" I ran like my ass was on fire to my room, a huge grin on my face, my heart beating 1,000 miles a minute. At the time, I thought it was the thrill of it all that made my heart feel that way. But, through the years, I slowly realized the pounding feeling in my chest only came around when Hazel did. And God, did she come around. And Lord, was it torture. Because there was only one thing I wanted to do, despite myself. I just wanted to make Hazel's eyes smile. I wanted to make her happy, and it was no easy feat. I didn't know then what all of that meant. Me wanting her to be happy. Me wanting to be around her all the time. But I did now. Boy, did I. And like I said, it made me want to do foolish things to be close to her. Stupid, crazy things. Anything. Everything. And being a grown man now didn't stop me from doing the dumbest thing yet. Yeah, I'd crossed plenty of lines when it had come to Hazel. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compared to the day I logged on to a gaming server I knew Hazel liked to play on. It was a hell of a bold move on my part, and required more than a few rum and cokes, and the desperation of a lifetime of love unrequited. I then crossed even more lines. Lines that couldn't be uncrossed. I made a fake name. I lied about my age. I pretended I wasn't a naive virgin. And I catfished the hell out of the love of my life, my sister's best friend.
Chapter 1. Hazel. I was going to kill him, and not in the sweet way. No, I wasn't going to be calling old Scarlett up and meeting her for lunch so I could shoulder nudge her and tell her how cute this shit was, because it wasn't, and I was actually going to kill him. Well, not really, but I wanted to, because it was 3 o'clock in the damn morning and he still wasn't home, and there was no telling what the man was up to because usually it was no darn good. I pushed the accelerator down on my old Cadillac Eldorado and it stuttered a bit. "Come on, baby. Don't let me down tonight." I cooed to the old engine and gave the dashboard a couple of light taps. If I broke down out here in the middle of nowhere, that would be the icing on my shit cake. I followed the familiar wooded road right outside of my hometown of Summerville, Alabama. I'd traversed too many times to count. I was about 20 miles outside of town, and it was country. Like, serious country. I was keeping my eyes peeled for deer when I heard the familiar ding of the texting app on my phone. I grinned a bit. There was only one person who would message me this late, and I really wanted to talk to him. But I couldn't do that, because I was too busy hunting down the man in my life. I pulled into the parking lot of a rundown white building in the middle of nowhere, loose gravel kicking up under my tires. Taking a deep breath, I gave myself a good pep talk about how I wasn't going to actually kill anyone, and I reminded myself of how much I loved the man in that dilapidated building. The big door to the Eldorado creaked as I opened it. My Skechers hit the parking lot, and I pulled down my oversized black hoodie to cover the ass of my skinny jeans. As I was walking in, I used the scrunchie on my wrist to tie my...